The other reason I might mention that I think psychedelics have a curious place in modern society is the fact that they decondition. That if you were to analyze their societal effect on millions of people rather than looking at the single individual trip, you would see that what they do is they sow doubt about the current ontological models of what's going on, no matter what those models are. I mean, we are all familiar with the banker and the advertising executive in the 1960s who took LSD and just walked away from it. But I've seen Hindu priests just walk away from it. You know, just say, what do we need with Krishna? We were kidding ourselves, you know? And you can imagine how happily a force like that is greeted in Marxist society or in capitalist society, which is heavily dependent on programming of values, how we should look, what we should buy, what we should wear, what we should believe. And I'm not sure how to handle that particular aspect of it, because that aspect of it doesn't really interest me. You see, it isn't that it's a deconditioning agent per se, it's that what it tells you is a form of conditioning which casts everything else into doubt. In other words, it doesn't leave you a blank slate. It offers a new set of ideas about what reality is and how it works. For most people, for most people who take it, this seems to come down to discussing my contention that psilocybin is different from all these other hallucinogens because you contact an entity or entities, because there is a realized other of some sort. I think this poses a real challenge. I mean, it's only been 130 years since the notion that man was descended from the higher primates was thought to completely wreck the ontological argument for the uniqueness of humanness. And it's been only maybe 15 years, 10 years, 5 years since the serious enunciation of the notion that a machine could think. You know, when I was 16 to 20 years old, computer scientists were all over the place assuring us that machines don't think. That's preposterous, that will never happen, that's a complete misunderstanding of what artificial intelligence is about. Actually, those voices have fallen silent recently because the people in the field know the thinking machine is on its way, and what will it do for our ontological view of our place in the universe? And if coming right behind that is a super alien intelligence, apparently telepathically deployed through hyperspace, something which we approach almost as upon the status of insects or something, then this is another blow to the centrality of human uniqueness in the universe. Or it is interpreted that way. I don't see it that way. I mean, I think all of these things, the discovery of our human origins, the notion of people hardwiring intellecty, the notion of contact through higher spatial dimensions with other forms of involved intelligence, all of these things actually are lend affirmation to the human position in the universe, because it means we're finally beginning to fight our way free of the miasma of delusion, which has persisted since the very beginning. I mean, we are still trying to disengage ourselves from a medieval universe. We're still quibbling about whether there may or may not be planets around other stars. But it's been 460 years since Giordano Bruno went to the stake saying, I know that the universe is infinite and that stars and planets extend in all directions. That he was essentially a psychedelic martyr. Not that he used psychedelic drugs, but there's more than drugs that are psychedelic. ideas can be psychedelic as well. All psychedelic means is consciousness enhancing. I think that when we fully grapple with all this, what we will have to face is the fact that the psychedelic botanicals, specifically psilocybin and the LSD-like alkaloids that occur in morning glories and in ergot, that these things were actually the catalysts for drawing out of a certain branch of the primate tree the thing which we call humanness. In other words, human beings are the product of a monkey-plant interaction that is essentially about hallucinogenic drugs. Why? Very simply because before the word psychedelic was coined, these compounds were called consciousness-expanding drugs. This is, in fact, what they do. And the expansion of consciousness is, in fact, the distinguishing factor of what's going on in us as a species. All of the entire historical experience is a psychedelic experience. It is this adumbration and accumulation of resonant themes about another, the other, ingressing into the primate dimension.